Welcome back to Super Sentai Review, episode number 63. This is reviewing the Sun Vulcan film. Yes, it had a film, and episodes 26 to 29. Now, originally I was planning on viewing the movie as basically a separate thing, but because I watched it today while I was gone, I figured I'll watch it here. Now, the plot of this one is simply that Black Mamba wants to turn Tokyo into a sea of fire. Excuse me. But because of the fact that of Sun Vulcan's frequent teamwork they have. Oh, by the way, the monsters one is called the Fireworks Monger. Yep, fireworks. So, we actually have them go Giant Size earlier because normally, whenever they go Giant Size, it's after hit by the Vulcan ball. Here it goes automatically, already in giant mode, and then of course, Vulcan shows up with the ball Jaguar. By the way, like with Den's movie, the carrier of the one that carries the Zords, gets a lot of screen time in this movie, despite the fact this movie only being 28 minutes. Yes, it is a 28-minute movie. And I'm like, really? You call this a movie, and yet 28 minutes nowadays is said to be a short film. You could say roughly these things are like just a half hour long. A movie is over an hour long, not 28 minutes. So in order to divide them, they kidnap two random kids, and of course they had to have Vol Eagle rescue them. Not the other two. Oh no. We have to have the brand new Vol Eagle, him go rescue them. Because it seems as though as soon as he showed up, it just seems like though a lot of the time, which comes to like one episode so far I've seen, it seems like he gets a lot of attention. Like, I get the fact he's a brand new character, but you don't even have almost every single episode focused on him doing it alone and have the other two show up basically when the last minute thing shows. I'm not really sure exactly why. So we still go to Lake Hermada. Like, that's interesting. I'm thinking, didn't he already go to this place back in episode 24? Yeah, it's the same exact place. So he just goes there and gets the kids, and the kids are basically stuffed into bags. At one point, the kids try to escape, and of course, their mother is at the the curry place, the snack safari. And eventually, of course, Vol Eagle himself briefly gets captured, and he was about to be executed, basically, in the most unusual way, being chained up and being pulled up by a freaking helicopter. Yes, a helicopter. Yeah, apparently the Machine Empire has got themselves a freaking helicopter. I'm like, they must have stole it. Yes, they must have. So, that shows he can drop, and eventually he plays possum, gets back his morpher, which was taken from him by an Amazon killer, beats all of them up, and of course he does in fact rescue the kids. Of course, Cosmo Eagle shows up while Shark and Panther take on the fireworks monster, and of course the kids get a chance to ride inside of the Cosmo Eagle, and then the next time we see the Cosmo in the cockpit, okay. Where are the kids? Were they hiding in the Cosmo Robo after he basically flew up with them inside of it? I mean, that is great for the kids. They get a chance to flying that frickin' Zord. Which makes the first time next to somebody who's not a Ranger inside the actual Megazord itself. I would probably say this is the first time we ever had kids inside of this Megazord. So they must take a time to go back to HQ, drop them off, and then eventually come back during the fight, and then take out the fireworks monster. Which, before they even fight the guy, you have the Vol Jaguar basically biting the spear. Even take out some jets with the Vulcan bite, the Jaguar bite, which I thought was so really cool. The fact the mouth is being used as a weapon, because here's the thing. Inside that mouth is basically where the Cosmo Vulcan is stored. And yet they're using the mouth as a weapon. I thought that was kind of unusual. Eventually, in the end, the monster is destroyed. And everyone's having a good vacation afterwards at the actual place. It's actually a pretty good story movie. But man, it's like, if they're going to do one of these movies, how about a movie that's an hour long, not 30 minutes? What, you have short attention span? Or probably this all totally can afford. I'm not really sure. Now, as for the main episodes themselves, for episodes 26 to 30. Yep. Well, by the way, I should point out, though, there's no more dark cues at this point. Yep, they stopped using this back in 21. Yeah, 21 was the final appearance of the dark cues. It's coming up very slowly. Here we go. Oh yeah, first one's all about cooking. This one's kind of get focused on Ball Panther. Like, okay, that's interesting. Basically, have him, Mies, and the kids like out in the countryside, basically on a camping trip, eat some food, and apparently there's this hunger germ. Apparently, a lot of people that eat like crazy, and when they get back, they're eating like crazy, and then, of course, eventually you cure things. And, of course, they found out they actually had this gram by thanks to blood work that they took from the two. And so they figured out a plan to get rid of basically these two by inviting to a dinner party. Yep, a dinner party. While also inviting a politician, a robot professor, and a champion tennis player. I'm like, okay, along with Misa and Vol Panther. Like, this is going to be interesting. We have Vol Panther, basically. He's having, like, so much fun. He's got this big, goofy bow tie. And, of course, Misa's wearing this beautiful dress. And at first, they're inviting for free food. And, of course, they go back to the place. Like, and, of course, before they eat, they actually have the two eat the medicine that the chief made for them to make sure they don't get turned into whatever plan. Apparently, the Machine Empire's plan is to have these 5 people eat this food, which is laced with this hunger germ, which turns them into mechanized humans, basically robots. Yep, they want to turn into robots for reasons. And so, lucky enough that lucky enough Shark and Eagle, at first, they looked like they were tracking, and then they had to give up because they don't know it's a tracker. But that was actually planned. And eventually they do find the place, thanks to Misa activating her tracker in the heel of her shoe, which, okay, that's actually quite interesting. I like the fact that as far as I can tell for I've seen for Super Sentai, that's the first time we've done that. Eventually, do find the place, and as for the politician and the scientist, they actually had they had to get swapped, and eventually they do defeat the monster variant, which is the cookie monster. Which, okay, interesting, yes. In the case of 27, this one is it's a Halloween episode. It's simply get this, you have an alien mosquito, you have a space mosquito, which apparently has been roaming around the Machine Empire base for a few episodes, because Amazon Cal first show up in episode 23. This is episode number 27. So yeah, roughly 4. But apparently it's been running around the base, and the first thing you see is it land on the leg of Queen Hedra, which that's quite hilarious. And everyone's like, what the heck is going on here? And then it forms into, like, and of course they make this particular space mosquito into the alien monger, which is simply a mosquito monster. Which I'm thinking, wait, didn't they have a mosquito monster in, like, Bad Fever J? Yep, they did. They had one Bad Fever J. So this one actually infects people. To do what, you might ask? Turn them into frickin' werewolves. Or in the case of this show, wolfmen. Which I'm like, okay. So first people they turn into is a group of random a random couple. Just infect them. And eventually, of course, the assistant cook gets infected too, and of course they can turn back to normal. They do in fact beat the guy, and that's it for that one. 28 is a good noteworthy episode for the assistant chef, because for some reason he's appointed to be a part of Sun Vulcan, even though technically he doesn't take part in the missions. He's appointed as a private associate with Sun Vulcan. Of course, he brags about it, and somehow this gives attention to Machine Empire. Oh, and the funny thing about this mosquito is that we have the Fuhrer basically watching this, and they're basically Like, what was this one? I think it's the. I'm trying to remember. I think it was one of these two where basically she's like going freaking nuts. Yeah, this one basically is just mostly trying to infiltrate the brand new base. And I'm thinking, this is episode 28. The base has been around for 5 episodes at this point, and you haven't bothered to look for the damn thing until now. So they use a crystal monger. So they find a missile base, which they're about to attack, but look how it's saved by this Vulcan. Yep. So this one basically is like, oh, and he thinks he's become a special part of the Sun Vulcan organization by fighting 3 random women. And one thing, he does not apologize for hitting any of these women, even though he gets briefly captured by the Amazon killer. Which I should also point out that she's still a very lovely woman. Well, I can tell in the show. I'm sure I know she's like 70 now, but at the time she was like very good looking. For being only 34 years old, she looked fantastic for her age. Quite young too. Though she's a bit older than the one introduced in Bad Fever J, where she was like 21. Excuse me, this is like roughly like 13 years older than that. Yep. So they think they found the base, but not really. They think it's in stuff on the Sac Shapari. And they go to like the bathroom, and of course they end up in like the water area, which is quite hilarious. So they figure, okay, so they have to basically go through the pipes to find the base. And he kind of does find it, but he gets dragged outside, and of course he does briefly catch Misa, but she actually just let go pretty quickly. And eventually they do in fact defeat the crystal monster. The next one is basically a very important one, where they have the White Rose Fencer. Yes, White Rose Fencer. A female. Well, we first started out basically with Queen Hedra, just like last episode saw her. This time we see her fencing in the mirror. I'm like, okay, interesting. And she wants to develop a technique to take down the Sun Robo. I'm like, okay, that's actually quite interesting. So you go, nah, I'm not gonna do it. I sent the Machine Empire's best fencer, and if Fuhrer's like, and El Saturn's like, what? You sent her out? Okay. I guess she has sort of authorization because she's the high priest for the omnipotent god. Yeah, she probably has some authority to grant that. So, also with some rockets, and she does take on the Sun Vulcan, and it's like, and then she just goes to monster size really quickly, like, oh, you're here. Brief fight, go giant size, some Robo, and some Robo does some damage. And like during the fight itself, you actually have this is so funny. We see Queen Hedra basically just holding out he's like whacking his head, which is so funny. And surprisingly, she's not getting punished for this because he knows, probably can tell basically she's not doing this on purpose, just having some fun seeing the Sun Robo get beaten up. And of course, he gets drawn back. So, and of course, Fall Ego is like, okay, I need to develop a technique to basically battle this lightning slash. So, he goes to basically develop this particular lightning slash. So, Misa tries to help out, and we're like, nah. And then eventually, we have the White Rose Fencer show up, where she proceeds to beat the crap out of about half a dozen of the machine men, even basically drawing W's in white on their suits. Like she's freaking Zorro, which is so funny. Her outfit's very similar to Zorro, which I think is quite interesting. And then eventually, after taking these people on, then eventually she does take on Red Rose Monster, where she unmasks her, like, oh, you're Miss Azur. And then she proceeds to slice up her clothes. Yeah, slice her sleeves off. It's almost like she was using her sword to almost strip her naked. Yeah, it's like she's like Zorro from the Mask of Zorro movie. Though this came out roughly like 17 years prior, like almost 20 years prior to almost 20 years prior to that. And like if some Vulcan shows up, And she explains the reason why she did so is just basically just be a distraction while he develops a technique. And since he saw it, he's going to develop a technique for you. Like, okay, try to counter it. And by the way, does her father punish her for this? No, he doesn't. I'm like, really? Doesn't chastise her for... And of course, there's a comment made by, I think it was like, by Vol Shark, like, women shouldn't get involved with it. It's like, that's a sexist comment. Yes. Not really sure why they had to make that sexist comment, but I think in the case of him that he should never have made that sexist comment, but luck enough he's never basically called on it at all. No, he isn't. So, eventually, of course, the White Rose monster is eventually defeated, and, well, that's it for that. I gotta say, some pretty good set of episodes, and I thoroughly enjoyed the White Rose one. Now, Meets herself, as far as I can tell, does not assume the identity of White Rose Fencer ever again. It was just a one-off thing. And her outfit is probably something she made herself. Yep. But yeah, that's episode review. Next one is going to be a review of episodes 30, 33, and I'm going to continue this for a little while until this is finished, and I'll eventually head back to Welcome Demon School Ramacon. Yeah, it's interesting though. Basically, I resumed doing this the very same day I finished up for the moment for Welcome Demon School Ramacon. Yep. But there'll be more videos of that today, okay? Of Super Sentai, okay? So next video. Bye.